Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her ultra accessible producer, Fuzz Martin. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah, another little week off.
Yeah, a little spring break.
Yep.
A little spring break in the action.
Yeah.
And we're back at it. Episode number 87.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
87.
It is. We're getting close to that hundo mark.
I know. I was thinking about that.
I always worry sometimes because my file names for the episodes, I only have 3 numbers. Mm-hmm. You know, like after another 30 years.
Right?
I'm going to need to flip it over to the...
You're going to have to do something new, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to have to add a digit to all of the previous files.
That sounds like a fun task. Or maybe we could secret code them. Maybe they could be episode A01.
There you go.
A02. A03.
I dig it. Let's do that.
Yeah. Then we don't have to worry
once
about
we get to 1,000.
Right. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
In a while.
It'll be a while. But thanks for listening to all 87 of these episodes so far.
Thanks for joining us. So today in episode 87, we have had a break here and we are back and we are talking about the good old Google extensions, which I was laughing about this as last time we talked about how I overload my computer with extensions. Guess what, folks? I'm talking about extensions today and overloading my computer one more time. Extensions are fantastic, and I guess that's something I want to point out, that find a handful of extensions that are super useful for you and keep them and use them. I have some that I use all of the time, and they're always on my computer. And then I'm always supporting other staff members, so I end up putting Chrome extensions that are helpful to other people on my computer, and that's where I get overloaded. But if you have a handful of go-tos all the time, that's what you need. I use Chrome extensions, I try them out, I share them with others, and then I forget to take them off my computer, which is part of the problem. But if you find ones that you use, that's what Chrome extensions are for. They're there to support your needs. So find a few. If you don't like them, delete them. And if you do, then they kind of stick around on your computer. So that's just something to keep in mind, that I always suggest try them out. A couple days, maybe a week. If you like it, awesome, keep it. If you're not using it, take it off your computer so it's not bogging things down.
Yeah. Looks like I have 6.
I'm not going to talk about how many I have today because I've loaded a bunch on because we're talking about them. And when I'm talking about them, we're teaching others how to use them. Then I always have extras.
Right.
And it's fun, but then if I don't need to regularly use them, I need to remove them from my computer. So anyway, our topic is extensions for accessibility, which you kind of highlighted the topic this week. Hey, I found this great idea. You found a few, and then I had already had a few. I just
didn't categorize them into this.
Never organized them.
Yep. And
there are so many different needs out there, and that way everybody can have kind of, tools to help you out while you're on your computer. So. Extensions for accessibility. And I'd like to throw out there before we even begin, one of the best extensions for accessibility is Google Read and Write, which we're not even going to talk about tonight because I've talked about it 12 other times. But if first and foremost, if you don't have Google Read and Write, I feel that is beneficial to every student I've ever had put on their Chromebook, which is every middle schooler that comes across my path. So that's my plug number 1 is Google Read and Write. That's a fabulous extension to support in reading and writing and all that kind of stuff. But beyond Google Read and Write, there is so much more out there, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So our first Chrome extension for accessibility is called
Substital.
Substital. Thank you. Because every time I try and pronounce it, I'm like, hey, how do I say it again? And I can say it. I just can't.
It kind of looks like substantial. It kind of looks like subtitle. Yeah.
But it's substital. And
it's 4 subtitles, which also throws in a little wrench of confusion,
Right.
which is funny for something that's supposed to make things more accessible. But
When it does, and it's fantastic. I
Yes.
have it. I'm playing around with it, and it's on my computer right now. And what it does is it will take and put subtitles in your preferred language on any video, which is fantastic. And while you can do it on YouTube, and a lot of times you'll find a lot of videos with some sort of subtitle on them or closed captioning, but they're not always in the language that you need.
Right.
Especially if you're supporting students that may need support in various languages, or if you're a world language teacher and you're looking to like teach your kids. So like there's a lot of different ways, and then other like needs if kids they need to be reading as they're kind of watching, and there's just so many different needs for subtitles on videos. And what's cool about this extension is when you put it on, it's an extension, so it just loads onto your little bar on your computer in the upper. Mine's on my upper right, kind of depends on how you have your setup.
Sure.
But what's cool is it will detect if there's a video on the page.
Okay.
And if you have it on, like it doesn't just automatically start subtitling stuff. It doesn't do that. You have the extension on, it will see, oh, there's a video on this page. Do you want to subtitle it?
Sure.
If it doesn't already have subtitles is the first thing.
Okay.
And then you can switch languages.
Cool.
And it doesn't just like automatically subtitle stuff. It digs through, when you're pulling up a video or a movie and you have all those subtitles, like these are all the different languages the video comes in. It finds like that.
Okay.
And then is able to access that for you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and it works with like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, like Vimeo, like it works with all of those as well. So it's not just like trying to pull up a YouTube video.
Yep.
But it also lets you load in your own subtitles.
Oh, okay.
So if you are like, doing some video work or putting some things together for your students, it will also load into your own subtitles, which I thought was kind of cool too, that you have that option.
Sure.
To put your own in, as well as have it find you the subtitles.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's a cool extension that is like flexible in various different ways, and it'll synchronize your subtitles if they kind of get out of sync. It also helps you kind of color code things if you need to, and change like it automatically adapts like your sizes and stuff like that for you. So it's a cool tool to have onto your little extensions list, especially if you need to subtitle things or are looking for subtitles to help you out with.
For sure. And
having that.
Speaking of, for those of you who are teaching older kids, big news in the subtitle world for TikTok. They just announced that they have a new feature that will automatically subtitle your TikTok videos if you turn it on. So
Sweet.
A lot of people are closed captioning, and they had been doing it manually. They've been typing in what, like going back, listening to what they said and typing it in. And now TikTok offers that as a automatic, I think it's called a filter in that regard. So,
good.
So pretty neat, but along the same lines.
Yeah.
But Substital, Substital. And again, if you go to smartwi.com, click on the episode link, you can get that information. Or if you're listening on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you just go to the description and we'll have the link there to the episode.
There you go. Cool. Chrome extension number 1.
Number 1.
Woohoo! All right. So Chrome extension number 2, I am totally using right now. I'm so sparkly about it. It is called Screen Shader.
All right.
It's not shady. It's actually really snazzy. See what I did there?
Good work.
So Screen Shader shades your screen, folks. So I feel like we all have dark mode.
Yeah.
I never use it though. I never use dark mode like on my phone. I always just like blinding light for everybody. Like, oh, my phone's going to glow and you're all going to see it. And as I'm aging gracefully, I have a hard time seeing things at night. And Screen Shader is such a fun extension because it shades your screen so you don't have this light that's like glowing at night, especially when you can't see it. And what it does is not only does it like shade your screen, meaning that it will change the color of your background, like your whole screen. It will, like, it has sets. So like 2 hours after sunset is when it starts, and it gradually will get darker for you. It doesn't just like, my screen is now red. Like, it will like slowly darken as the evening goes on. I just noticed that. And then like 48 minutes before bedtime, it's like at its point where
it's darkest.
Like dark. And then it's like, this is my earliest wake up time. So you literally set your times on your computer of like when your most usage of your computer. And then you can choose like custom shades. So do you want something that will reduce eye strain if you work late at night a lot, if you're a cave dweller, or if you're a sun lover, or classic day and night? So you can like pick your recommended shade.
If you do it right, you can actually tan your face with your computer screen. Your battery lasts 3 minutes.
Right? And then it also lets you pick your colors and your darkness of those colors.
That's cool.
So depending on, like, I have this beautiful orange glow that comes from my screen, which is not my favorite color. I would have chosen a green.
Sure.
But green is not good for your eyes, apparently.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So it even gives you like what color should I pick? And it tells you, like, if you suffer from certain things with various eye strain and stuff like that, it'll tell you like, this is the colors you should go for.
Sure.
It asks your location because it needs to know where you are in the world for,
time zones and
all that kind of stuff. And then it's got like various settings where you can have a shaded browser scroll bar, a max shaded slider range. Like you can add and do different things that way. But it's really kind of cool. And I was like clicking around, and as I've had it, like I will put a picture of my screen onto the website on Smart and WI so you guys can see that it looks like this weird orange grayish.
Yeah.
But it is so helpful to read my computer screen at night, especially in like a dim light where I'm not like squinting because it's so bright. But I don't like the black screen because I have a hard time when my screen is like totally reversed as well.
Sure.
So yeah,
now
screen shader.
You use Chrome for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Like you don't really use many other apps, right?
No, I live in Chrome.
But are you familiar with Night Shift on your Mac?
No.
Okay, so take you have your Mac in front of you.
Yep.
2-finger from the right hand side, not on your mouse pad, but on your computer. So like if you can see mine right here. So like this, and then 2-finger swipe onto your mouse pad from there. Did you get the notifications on the right?
This is notifications.
All right, now scroll up on the notifications. Do you see? Are you clicked on today or notifications right now?
This is notifications.
Okay, so do you see Night Shift and Do Not Disturb?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there's.
You have a newer, fancier computer than I do.
Yeah, I think you have the newer software than I do. But anyway, there is you may have to turn it on in settings, but you can turn my stuff off. You can turn on Night Shift, which does essentially that. You don't get to pick all of the fancy stuff that you do inside Screen Shader, but it does do the same thing. That would only
be for Macs, right?
Yeah, that's only for Macs. I'm sure there's versions for other brands too, but that is something. If you do have a Mac, if you have like an iPad or even your phone, that helps.
That I have, yeah. But this has pretty colors.
Yeah.
And more fun adjustments, and it's more.
Well, we'll talk about pretty colors.
My Chrome extension is cooler than your 2-finger swipe. All right. So anyway, moving on. Our next schnazzy Chrome extension for accessibility is called Volume Master.
Volume Master.
And what's cool about this is when you put this extension on your computer, it maximizes your volume up. Like, so it'll take your volume and then it'll go like it says, I don't know if it must, I don't know. It says up to a 600% volume boost.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a lot. Yeah. I've heard it. And it's loud. I don't know about 600%, but who knows? Every computer.
So does it bypass your computer settings, or does it just alter the audio to make it? bring it up.
It's their own secret recipe.
Yeah, that's
of
proprietary
boosting your volume.
Volume boosting goodness.
But what's kind of cool about it is, while sometimes we don't want our eardrums blown out because of, earbuds and stuff, but other times I will have kids doing like gallery walks in the classroom, and they're on their Chromebooks, and while they're trying to present their stuff in class, sometimes, like right now, I don't want kids sharing their same earbuds or whatever. And when you're doing a gallery walk in a larger space, like a gym or like echoey space, it's kind of nice when they can boost their volume, because then they can actually hear
the computer
the
from
video.
a few feet away. Yeah,
you can hear the computer. You can like hear things a little bit better. And from an accessibility standpoint, super helpful to be able to boost up your computer volume in a lot of aspects, because
for sure.
Needed for sure. So that's a really easy
Especially
one.
when maybe you have a husband who was in radio for 15 years and wore headphones
what
every day.
What did you say? Or just reaching those kids in the back of the room sometimes.
Yeah.
And for various other things. So anyway, Volume Master controls the volume of the tab that's in your sidebar, and you just boost it up, and you can keep on going, and it's kind of cool. So there's a little Volume Master boost for you.
Cool.
I know you want to talk about vision.
Yeah.
Which, oh my gosh, I had so many Marvel, like not Wanda's vision. It's like vision. Anyway, there's so many.
This won't leave your mind wandering what color things are.
That was much better than mine.
I'm colorblind, and there are 300 million people on this planet who are also colorblind. And we don't often have a good way on the web they're getting better with web accessibility and web accessibility standards for colorblind people. There are tools out there to help designers design sites so that they don't mess with people who have some of the more common types of colorblindness, where you don't see reds and greens the same way, or shades of blues and purples and yellows.
I think
and
you've
orange.
talked about before, like you've memorized the numbers of colors, so that way you can find them. Which is
but that
not easy though.
No, and that took years of working and stuff to kind of figure out what was what. But most often the problem is you'll have a color, let's say a dark purple background and red letters on top of it, and it blends in and you can't see it as a colorblind person. In fact, a few days ago, and this is kind of how this sparked, I was playing a game online and I couldn't see it, and I posted something in a Reddit forum and said, like, hey, developers for this game, I can't read this. And there was just a ton of people who said, I am also colorblind and I cannot read this, and thank you for speaking up. And one of the solutions that was admittedly not perfect, but there are extensions for that in Chrome, one, and two, there are settings on iOS devices. So if you're on an iPad or on an iPhone, if you go into settings and type in color filter, there are settings in there too. You can make things more contrasty, or set your color filter based on what type of color blindness you have. So I am a strong pro-tan, which means I have strong red-green color impairments, but some other people have different issues. This Vision Chrome extension, Vision, it has the Mind Stone. It is it's a pretty neat extension, and I'm getting used to it. It's a little weird for us when it helps text stand out on backgrounds for me. Yeah, for sure. In areas where it normally would blend in. What it doesn't do is make the colors look correct. So like things that look red to me now, when you toggle the button and you saw this, it like turns like pink or magenta or something. So it doesn't make it so
but
that
certain colors, when you toggled between yours, like there was a clear definition.
Yeah. I think what it does is it instead of trying to make the colors correct, what it does is make the colors stand out. So it's more accessible. It's not, turning this on isn't going to give somebody with a colorblind impairment the ability to know what colors are automatically. In fact, it's going to change some of them so that they don't interfere with each other.
Right.
And so what you do is when you turn on the extension, when you're first turning on, you go into the settings, you click on the wheel, and it gives you 3 rows of colors. And it says take the row that you can't see the letters in the row and adjust the sliders until you can see all the letters. And then once that's done, then that knows, like, it determines what kind of color blindness you have so that it changes the colors on the screen so that you can see everything. Again, it doesn't make it so that reds look more red and, yellows and greens.
It's not gonna change.
It doesn't cure your color blindness. Yeah.
But it supports the contrast so you can see things more clearly.
Correct. It makes it more accessible. Correct. It doesn't make it so that you're not going to be able to go and if you're, like, you couldn't do online electrician work,
right.
because it's just making the colors different so that they stand apart. So, but it is good for accessibility purposes for sure. So,
cool.
So that's called Vision.
Yes. And I feel like even if you're not have like color blindness, like you are very aware of your color blindness, but even like when I looked at stuff and I made my little adjustments, like I could see things clearer, like it's interesting and it's kind of a cool tool.
If you have students who have color blindness, I think the most, if you're using iOS devices, if you use the contrast filter, that helps a ton because what it does is it changes some of the colors, but not all of them, so that they stand out more. Like messages look different, and the colored text on the screen is a little bit different. And I've using Twitter, they underline all the links now when you turn that on. So
then you can
because
see
sometimes links are particularly hard. Sometimes you can't see if it's like red and then black.
Right.
You can't tell, but now it puts a line underneath it, and it's easier to see. So.
Nice. Cool.
So that's Vision and iOS color filter inside your system preferences.
Nice. Your little insight on your Vision.
Yeah, insight.
So those are our fun little, not really little, but our extensions for accessibility. So just trying to make some tools to make your life a little easier.
Right.
Make your students' lives a little easier. And
a little bit more accessible.
Yeah. From vision to audio to,
and there are tons and tons. If you go,
there are so many out there. I feel like this, like we could do a whole season.
If you have a student
features.
who has an accessibility need, there is a Chrome extension for them somewhere that is going to help. Whether it's with sight, hearing, stimulation, or overstimulation, those kinds of things like that, they're out there and they can help.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter @SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartnwi.com. Check out the EdTech Directory. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart NWI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we sure hope they do. We'll talk to you next time on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.